Hey there, welcome to today's episode of Q&A Helpline. So every Thursday we do a Q&A whereby I answer some of my members' questions and then I prepare a topic that is very close to me or a lot of agents are struggling with and then I speak on it. So today's topic that I'm going to be speaking on later is about free lead generation, how to get free inquiries from online, how to get buyers and sellers reach out to you free without burning any money on ads, without running ads on Facebook, or without having a hefty budget for Google AdWords. So before I answer that specific topic, let me go and cover some of the questions that I've been reading lately from some of my members. And one of the more frequent questions this week has been to do with hard work and how much hard work is enough. So here's the thing, right? So all of us, all of real estate agents, we are taught from very young that we have to work hard. We have to, you know, get work done, and we have to work very hard. And that is our training from day one. That is from our training that society teaches us, our parents teach us, and from young, from all the way from young, from primary school, we all learn that you got to study hard, then you got to get good grades so that you get a good job, and then that's how you get a good life. So that's the kind of programming that we get. That's the kind of mindset that we have, that we got to work hard. And when we become adults, when we join real estate, that mindset stays with us, and we continue working harder and harder until many of the agents, even I, used to be in a similar position. And this situation that we find ourselves in is that we work hard all the way until there are no many hours for us to give. We can't work any harder, and that leads to burnout, and that's a very bad thing to happen. Because when it leads to burnout, right, you just want to give up, and it's so easy to run away from it. It's so easy to avoid your customers, so easy to avoid doing all the work. And by avoiding to get things done, you get little progress. So the smarter way to work hard is actually to work on your business, and this is something that I found the hard way. And all those years ago, when I was working too hard, I was feeling too burnout, and I was having this kind of negative thought to myself that maybe I was doing some rental, and for a small, very small commission, had I made myself the slave for all these homeowners or all these renters, they were giving me a lot of problems, right? And then there was a time that I shut myself off from all the outside world. I didn't want to face it. I didn't want to deal with it because I was so burnt out, mentally washed out, and it was so difficult. And then one day I was browsing around, and I came across this book that I always talk about, and this book actually saved my life. And this book in my hands right now is The E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber, and this book actually saved my life. It saved my sanity, and seriously, this is one of the best books that I've ever read on business systems. And you can see, it's all browned out, caramelized, brown out, right? Because it's been so long ago that I got my hands on this book. So basically, this book set my mindset right. And the reason why my business wasn't working at the time was because I was the one doing every damn thing. I was the one doing every single thing. And I realized that hard work is alone, on its own, hard work is not enough. It's never enough. You got to work smarter. You got to duplicate yourself. You got to have a system. A system is an orderly, reliable way of getting things done. Whatever it is that you want it to do, the system does it without complaint. It's sort of like a robot. For example, if you want to get a lot of inquiries, then you got to have a system for getting inquiries without you doing any hard work, without you putting in any effort, without you putting in any of the manual prospecting, manual grunt work. And that is only made possible because of a system. So first, right, what I learned from this book, The E-Myth, is that in order for me to have a system first, I first must sit down and work on my business. That means I must step back. I must step back for a while and analyze, what is it that I need to get done? What is it that I can do? What is it that brings me joy? and what are the activities that I am doing that gives me a lot of money for the time that I'm spending, versus doing all the other things that I hate to do, or I do not know how to do, or I'm very very weak at it. And all those things that I should actually get other people or hire assistants to do for me. So that is what I mean by working on your business versus working in your business. Because ultimately, when you are the only one doing every single thing, you are the only one doing all the marketing, all the advertising, you are the only one picking up the phone calls and calling them and doing customer service and whatever, right? And then you are the only one who is presenting in meetings. You're the only one who's doing customer service. Imagine the kind of stressful life that you have. Imagine the kind of hard work. Seriously, it's not really smart work, and smart work takes a bit of change in your mindset. It forces you to analyze it from a third person's preview, because when you have a bird's eye view, when you fly in the airplane, right? Let me give you an analogy of flying in an airplane, right? You can see everything happening, what's happening all there, right? But because you are too close to the ground, you're too close to your business. When you're too close to the ground, right, you do not see the big picture. You do not know what is wrong with it, what is right, what is working, where the customers are coming from, what are they saying. You do not really know, because you don't have a bird's eye view. But when you fly in the sky in an airplane, you can see everything on the ground. You can see the entire map, and it gives you a better idea. What's happening, what's going there, right? So because when you're in the sky, right, you can see all the ground. You can see where the sea is. Like a bird, you can see everything which is laid out below, and that's where you have a big picture, and it becomes clearer to you. You're able to process information. We human beings, right? We get overwhelmed when things don't make sense, or there are too many things to make sense, and in both scenarios, we our minds go blank, so we cannot process. So similarly, when you're too close to your business, you're too close. Every single day you're doing this, you're doing everything. You lose your objectivity in a sense that you lose the big picture view, that what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. You lose that strategic overview, and instead every single day what you're doing is do. And if all that's all you do, right, then you've lost your perspective of how to do things better. And this is why this is so important to do things, to work on your business rather than work in the business. And that's the much better way, much smarter way to get things done. And when I read that in the email, then it actually inspired me to go out there, get out there, and come up with a solution. And what I did next in my real estate owned business was very, very simple, right? I basically I drew a line on a blank piece of paper, and I wrote down things that I enjoyed doing, things that I hated to do, right? And I quickly listed down all the things that I enjoyed doing, and everything had to do with the entire process of real estate. And on the right hand side, I look listed down all the things that I didn't like to do. And then what I did next was basically I categorized those two things into which activities gave me the most amount of money, and which activities didn't give me a lot of amount of money. And that told me a few things, right? For example, I hated dealing with people who were very, very bad human beings, right? I'm sure every salesperson out there, everyone out there hates dealing with nightmare customers, right? But I realized that the solution lay in me becoming better in customer service, and actually listening to them in a non-emotional manner, and putting myself away. And as a result, I worked on my business and basically improved my results. And it took me some time to get there, but once I started working on my business, and I let go of all the things that were not giving me a lot of peace of mind, or they were taking away too much of my time, I basically outsourced it to team members. I used technology to take the workload off of me, and the result was that I was happier. I was more relaxed, and I was able to think clearer. And as a result, with a better frame of mind, I was able to, solve problems better, and I was able to solve more problems in a shorter period of time. And that's when my business truly started to pick up. And because I was in a similar situation like many of my customers who are facing right now, I can understand what they're going through. And it's tough. It's a tough situation to be in, but the solution is there. I promise that the solution is there. You just have to, persevere a bit. You just have to, motivate yourself in the sense that change your mindset about there's a limit to how much hard work you can do, and then commit to systemizing as much or as possible, systemize as much as possible your real estate business, and then the results basically add up over time. And then when you do that right, you have a finely tuned machine that runs without you. So it the act of changing yourself from working on your inside your business as a realtor, right? Uh, Whatever you've been used to, listing, presenting, appointment, closing, calling, putting up listings, online advertising, all these things you have been used to doing all these things, right? But when you only focus on the high income activities, only those activities that give you a high level of income, for example, meeting, right? And that frees you up for more of that. When you have a system that helps you, that when you have a system that takes off all your load, you actually find that you are freed up to do the things that change the outcome, like for example meeting, like for example appointment, like for example presenting. So these are all high income activities. They give you the most amount of money for the time that you invest in that. But the problem is that a lot of us, right, we over invest our time in all the little tiny details that need to get done before you actually sell a house. So when you work on your business, right, you actually shift to moving smarter, and your time is no longer a limiting factor because you have a system now. You know that what are the things that you need to do, what are the things that you need to outsource, what are the things that you need to automate, and what are the things that you shouldn't be doing at all, right? And that gives you a clearer picture, and you start thinking more like an entrepreneur. You stop thinking like a employee, right? And that has a huge difference down the road. It won't be apparent immediately. You won't be able to solve the problem, but remember this, even the act of getting out of hard work and automating your real estate business, even this act takes persistence. So you have to persist, you have to persevere, you have to get it done, and you have to see it through the end, because otherwise then the only option that you have is to get out of real estate business. Seriously, it's as simple as that. All right. So just like in life, just like anything in life, in real estate as well, it takes dedication, it takes persistence, and yet it doesn't take hard work, but it does take a bit of smart work. It does take a bit of leverage to get you to using leverage in terms of technology, in terms of marketing, in terms of people, and then you'll see the dividends, you'll see the rewards coming up slowly, but you will get there. All right. And it took me upwards of a year to actually settle everything, fix everything, and I'm being upfront with you, 1 whole year to automate my entire business. But the result was that the next few years were like heaven to me. I was enjoying it tremendously. I was going overseas. I was, there was a time that I got married. I found a life partner for myself. I enjoyed because I freed up my time, that I actually had time to enjoy the income. Seriously, that was the time that I could, take a holiday and enjoy my seriously all the income that I made. And that's a very, very important point, and that's what I want you to understand today. Don't give up hope, don't lose hope, but work hard in the right way. Don't work hard in the wrong way. Don't work hard on too many tiny details. Work hard on leveraging, work hard on working on your business instead of working inside the business. And then hopefully that should change your business in the next few months or years. All right, so now back to the topic: how to get free business, free leads, free inquiries from online channel, and without burning money on ads, without spending money on Facebook or Google, for example, right? Okay, so here's the thing, right? So we only have two things that give us business. I mean, two resources. I'm talking in terms of resources. So we have time and we have money, right? So money is very simple, very easy to understand, right? When you have money, right, you have a budget for advertising. When you can afford to spend some money to get more business, and you invest that money on Facebook or Google, right? That is when you actually run ad using money, when you advertise, when you pay for ad on Facebook, on Google, wherever it is, using money. And that's very simple, very straightforward, right? And then you get, immediately you start getting inquiries, you start getting, calls coming in. When you spend money on Property Guru, you get, leads coming in, you get inquiries coming in. That is pretty straightforward, right? There is a right way to do it, there is a wrong way to do it. And today I'm going to be talking about free. And the second resource, which has to do with the second resource, the first resource was money, right? So now, not every agent may have the money to burn on ads, right? Because most of the time the ads don't bring them any business, and that's the sad thing, but it's true, right? So the second way is actually to use the resource of time, and then we invest the time. And I don't mean, I don't believe in that, by the way. I don't mean using your time to do cold calling, using your time to do door knocking, using your time to do, networking, canvassing. None of that actually work in 2020. Stop doing that. Don't do it. All right. And the number one thing is that it actually wastes your time. All right. Whatever time that you invest in cold calling, whatever time that you invest in door knocking, whatever time that you invest in networking is time wasted. Simple as that. All right. Don't do it. Stop doing that. Instead, focus on one thing, one source of traffic where people are congregating online. So right now in 2020, what is the thing that very few agents are using correctly? I'm not saying they're not using it, but it's very hard to use this resource correctly, and that has to do with getting free leads from Facebook. Now, Facebook, if you have a page, if you have page to advertise your properties or whatever, forget about the page. A page is not going to give you free business. That party is over like 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, right? Forget about it. Page, the reach of page is going in down and down all the time, right? Because Facebook wants you to pay money, right? So pages are closely tied to that objective by Facebook. Facebook wants the money. Facebook is an advertiser. Never forget that. All right. So pages have been going down, and what has been going up? Where is all the engagement? Where is all the like, comment, and watch? It's actually happening in groups. So the party on Facebook, the social media, has shifted from pages to groups. Now, okay, the thing about groups is that groups are easy. There are two types of groups, by the way. All right, one is free and one is free. Yeah, both are free, by the way. What I mean is there are two types of group in the form of that private. One is private, one is public. So the public, you can see whatever they post on the group, and it doesn't really make sense to join it because it's public, right? And why would you want to join it when everybody can see everyone else, and then you can just reach out to them? So basically, it's public group. So that is not what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about private groups where you have to join in, you have to get in. Now, there are a lot of groups, and the best kind of group that you can leverage are not necessarily the groups about buying a property. Buying a property. Those groups are full of property agents. Those groups are full of advertisers. All right. So don't go there. All right. And anyway, what I see, a big mistake many agents are making is that they get in there and they spam the group with a ton of listings, and that's not a good way to get business. And I can tell you that that is one of the fastest way to get yourself banned from the group admin. So don't do it. All right. And anyway, there's a second type of private group as well, where agents co-broke listings and all that, where they exchange listings. That is fine if your objective is to co-broke. You already have a listing and you will co-broke with an agent maybe from another agency, for example, then use them by all means, all right? But when you are engaging in group, it's like a party, and the better way is to actually provide value, right? So, how do you provide value? How do you basically, contribute to the group? So, groups, you have to understand, what kind of, first you have to be clear of who do you want to target, who are you serving, right? Are you serving first time buyers? Are you serving investors, right? Then let's say I'm giving you a simple example of investors. So if you are serving investors, right, what is it that investors, they want? What kind of questions are they, thinking in their mind? What kind of thoughts they have, right? So either investors, right? So investors, let me tell you that people buy emotionally, right? But then they justify intellectually, right? And then, investors are also having this kind of thought, right? So for example, they are moving towards, yeah, they're buying emotionally, but they justify intellectually. So you got to, instead of, keep talking about features like many property agents do. What many property agents do is just, post, property description, property tenure, how many rooms, how many bedrooms, blah blah blah. But that is just features, right? So you got to talk about, more from benefit, more from what the person meaning to themselves. What does it mean to actually own this particular property? So you got to put yourself in the investor's shoe, and then talk from where you can benefit them. And then that is how you figure out. It's a bit of a trial and error process. All right, that's no right way, but that is, yes, there is the wrong way. And the wrong way is to just post listings, shoot listings, and people will ignore you because that's a sales pitch, right? So you got to make friends. It's a social party, and you have to make friends. You have to say hi. It's okay. Compared to offline networking like canvassing, right? Facebook group is where all the online networking has shifted, and when you do networking the right way, and they will become curious if you provide value, if you talk to them as a friend instead of a salesperson. If you figure out the best words to use, the best way to start conversation, get people to view your profile, and when they view your profile, then you can send them to your website on your profile, or they can add you as a friend, right? So this strategy works, and when they add you as a friend, then you can do whatever you want to do. You can pitch them, you can sell them to your website, you can show your listing, you can show whatever it is. But the ultimate goal is actually to be speaking to a lot of people online, because the conversation has shifted online. People are asking questions, people are watching videos, people are looking for solutions, people are doing a ton of things online, and it's all happening on Facebook. So you are a person, people buy from people, right? So people don't buy houses from machines or from advertising. They actually buy from people. So you are the person that has a home to sell, right? And you're offering your services. And the best way right now that I know of is actually Facebook group, where you can actually provide value, right? Don't spam your listing. Don't go and put your listings everywhere. It doesn't look good, and it gets pretty annoying for people. Put yourself in their shoes, right? You wouldn't want somebody to pitch you their product, every single time. It will turn you off, right? Yet, why do you forget when it comes to listing? Because you want to sell the listing, so it's okay for you, but it's not okay for buyers. It's not okay for a lot of other people. You are there to start conversation, make friends, give value. So provide value, right? And I think that's the best way right now to chat up people. And when you start up conversation, you're talking to a lot of people, and you keep building the momentum. More and more people are checking you out, more and more people are checking your profile, and they're sending you friend requests, and then you exchange numbers, and then basically you send them whatever listing that you have. And from there, hopefully it gets to an appointment, or a sale. And that's how you actually do free lead generation in 2020 using Facebook groups. And that's one of the simplest way, just one of the fastest, I would say. Okay, the thing about speed is that it takes time, it takes a bit of momentum. But when you have momentum, there is no limit to how many leads, how much income that you can get. Seriously, there's no limit, because the ultimately, right, when you run paid ad, right, the big huge downside for paid ad is that you get results very quickly. Then after a while, it plateaus and then it goes down, and because the same ad doesn't work for a long time, right? And that is the reality that we are living with. But when you have free coming in, right? When you give value, when you're known in the market as somebody who solves problems, who gives advice, who cares about other people, right? Then the amount of people they refer to you, the people who come to see you, the kind of traffic, the kind of inquiries that you get only increases over time, and that is free traffic, and it only increases over time, and you cannot turn it off. That's the only negative. Paid ad you can turn off, but for this kind of advertising, you cannot turn them off. So that's the thing. That's the huge strategy that is going to be working for property agents. And another thing, which is related to Facebook group, is the idea of content marketing. So content marketing is nothing new. In fact, I'm sure that you are already seeing me doing a bit of content marketing, because what I do is what I teach as well, right? So content marketing, the idea is to actually do a bit of branding for yourself, all right, and then build up a database of helpful articles to increase your authority, so that when that basically put yourself out there. When people are ready to buy or sell, they can find authoritative resources, right? So for example, there's a lot of information out there. Let me give you one very good example, is the Housing and Development Board website. So I'm sure even I used to face this problem, right? Whenever I would ask my buyer or seller to refer to HDB website, I would get a blank from them, because to them there's too much information on HDB website. It's not easy. It's not easy for them. Remember earlier on in this video I said, right? What did I say? I said that people, our minds cannot process too much information, and seriously, HDB got too much information out there, so our brain shut off, right? And then what you need to do is you need to the best alternative is to prepare simple articles, small articles, bite-sized articles, and then post it as a video, post it as a quick text, or post it on social media, post it as your profile picture, for example, profile update. And then these small nuggets, you can continue building them up, and over time, when people consume that small nuggets, it's easier to digest for them. They understand you, and then slowly they begin to trust you. That's the whole idea behind content marketing, and that's exactly the whole idea behind posting in groups, posting in Facebook groups specifically, so that you can get inquiries coming in after you have delivered some value. You've built trust in yourself, in your expertise. You've demonstrated results. You also talk about some of your customers. You tell stories, so stories sell, right? Instead of just shooting numbers here and there, you pepper them with your stories, your personal anecdotes, what happened to one of your customers and all that. And then stories actually educate your prospect. They educate your people you're talking to. And then when you do this content marketing, what I've described to you just now, this is one of the best ways. And just like when video a few years ago, a video was coming up and video suddenly started becoming very hot, the next phase that I foresee, that I feel agents are going to be doing more of, is exactly this strategy that I just described to you. It's more of content marketing, and it takes time. It's only a matter of time before other agents start doing it, and then competition becomes very fierce. But just like anything in life, even the same thing with Property Guru, when these trends, when these technologies first came out, right? The first few agents who joined and then leverage this trend were the ones who had a huge business. They made a lot of money and they were very, very successful. So now is the right time to actually not only join Facebook group, create Facebook group, create a group of all your customers, engage with them, tell them stories, show them your life, what's happening with you. It doesn't have to be about real estate. It doesn't have to be purely about buying or selling houses, right? Which itself as a topic gets pretty boring very quickly, right? So tell your own personal story, share your life, share what you're doing, right? So just be yourself, and instead of just copying what every other agent is doing out there, right? So that's a much better way, much more strategic way to actually take charge of getting inquiries, and then hopefully over time it builds up, the momentum builds up, and you get a lot of traffic coming in, you get a lot of inquiries, then hopefully you get more inquiries than you can handle, and that is the time that that's the best time to actually hire people, to set up systems, to automate your sales, automate your customer service, right? And that's the best time to actually put into practice what I early on I mentioned about EMIT, right? The advice from Michael Gerber. All right. So yeah, I hope that I have seriously covered a lot of topics in this episode, today's Q&A helpline. And then if you have any questions, just shoot me a comment or let me know, and I'll definitely answer it in the next episode. And I'll see you in my next Q&A helpline next Thursday. Now go and sell some houses.